What if I told you that right now as you're watching this video your body might be trying to tell you something incredibly important, something that could save your life in the next 30 days? Most people think a stroke happens suddenly out of nowhere. One moment everything's fine and the next someone's life changes forever. But here is what most doctors won't take the time to explain. Your body doesn't work that way. It doesn't ambush you. It warns you. Those warnings can start showing up a full month before a stroke ever happens. The problem is that most of us don't recognize them. We brush them off. We think it is just fatigue or stress or getting older. We tell ourselves we will mention it at our next doctor's appointment. That is exactly where the danger begins. I have spent years helping people understand what their bodies are trying to say. If there is one thing I have learned, it is this. The signs are there. They are subtle. They are easy to miss, but once you know what to look for, everything changes. Today I am going to walk you through the warning signs your body sends before a stroke. These signs can show up during ordinary moments of everyday life, when you are brushing your teeth, when you are walking to the mailbox, when you are trying to remember where you put your keys. These are not random inconveniences, they are messages from your body. By the end of this video you are going to know exactly what to watch for, not just for yourself but for the people you love. The truth is that recognizing these signs early does not just matter, it is everything. If you have ever worried about stroke risk or if someone in your family has high blood pressure, diabetes, or heart concerns, this video is for you. Stay with me. What I am about to share could be the most important 10 minutes you spend this week. Let's start with what most people get wrong about strokes in the first place. Here is what most people believe. A stroke is something that just happens, like a light switch flipping off. 1 second you are fine, the next second there is an emergency, but that is not how your body works. Your body is constantly communicating with you. It sends signals when something is not right. When it comes to stroke, those signals often begin weeks before anything catastrophic happens. The challenge is that these early warnings do not feel dramatic. They feel minor, forgettable, and easy to ignore. Let me paint a picture for you. Imagine you are sitting at the kitchen table one morning reading the newspaper with your coffee. You reach for your cup and for just a second, maybe 2 or 3 seconds, your hand feels weak, not painful, just weak, like it does not quite want to grip the way it should. You shake it off. You pick up the cup with your other hand. You move on with your day. It seems like nothing important happened, but sometimes those small moments are your body trying to tell you something that should never be ignored. Or maybe you are walking through the grocery store and suddenly you feel a little off balance. Nothing major. You are not falling. You just feel slightly unsteady, like the floor shifted under you. You grab the shopping cart for support and keep going. You tell yourself you stood up too fast earlier. Maybe you think you need new glasses. Maybe you blame being tired. But those moments are not always harmless. They can be your body raising a red flag before something much more serious happens. For many people, that warning gets ignored until it is too late. That is why paying attention to these small changes matters. They may seem ordinary, but they should never be dismissed without thought. Your body is often speaking long before an emergency begins. But here is the part that changes everything. Before a major stroke, many people experience what doctors call a transient ischemic attack, or TIA. You may have heard it called a mini stroke. It is a temporary blockage where blood flow is interrupted briefly before returning to normal. The symptoms may last only a few minutes. Sometimes they disappear even faster. Because they go away on their own, people often think everything is fine. They believe the problem has passed and there is nothing to worry about. But a TIA is not a false alarm. It is your body sending one of the strongest warnings possible. It is telling you that something is wrong and that you need medical attention. Ignoring it can have life-changing consequences. Studies show that nearly 1 in 3 people who experience a TIA will later have a major stroke. Even more concerning is that about half of those strokes happen within just a few days to a month after the warning event. That means the clock starts ticking immediately. 30 days, that may be all the time your body gives you to recognize the danger and take action. It is a valuable opportunity that many people never realize they have. Acting during that window can make all the difference. So why do so many people miss these warnings? Because they do not always look the way we expect. Most of us picture someone suddenly collapsing or losing the ability to speak. Those are real stroke symptoms, but they are not always the first signs. The early warnings are often much quieter. You might feel unusually tired for no obvious reason. You might notice tingling in your fingers that comes and goes. You might struggle to find the right word during a conversation more than once over several days. That is where it becomes difficult. Many of these symptoms look just like normal aging stress or lack of sleep. Because they seem so common, people rarely take them seriously. They hide in plain sight until a major stroke finally occurs. I remember talking to a woman named Linda. She was 67 years old, active, and walked her dog every morning. About 3 weeks before her stroke, she began having strange episodes where the vision in one eye became blurry for a minute or two. Then it cleared up completely. She assumed it was time for a new glasses prescription. She kept planning to call her eye doctor but never felt any urgency. What she did not realize was that her brain was sending an urgent warning. It was asking for help before it was too late. The good news is that once you know what to look for, you have power. You have time to act before a major stroke happens. Understanding these warning signs can help protect not only your own life but also the lives of the people you care about. First, you need to know exactly what those warning signs are, not vague ideas or confusing medical terms. Real everyday signals that appear during normal life. That is exactly what we are going to talk about next and why so many people misunderstand or dismiss them. Let's talk about what these warning signs actually look like when they show up in your everyday life. They do not announce themselves. They do not come with flashing lights or alarm bells. They slip into your routine so quietly that you might not even recognize them as symptoms. You simply think you are having an off day, but your body does not do things randomly. When something changes, there is usually a reason. Paying attention to those changes can make all the difference. Let me walk you through the most common early warning signs. More importantly, I want to help you understand why they happen and why they matter. Knowing these signs could help you act before it is too late. The first warning sign is sudden weakness or numbness. This is one of the earliest and most common symptoms. It does not always mean you completely lose feeling in an arm or leg. Sometimes it simply feels heavy, clumsy, or less responsive than usual. Maybe you are buttoning your shirt and your fingers fumble more than normal. Maybe you are walking down the hallway and one leg feels like it is dragging slightly. Maybe you try to pick up your grandchild and your arm suddenly feels weak. These moments often last only a few minutes before disappearing. Because they go away, people usually convince themselves that nothing is wrong. But what is really happening is that blood flow to part of the brain has been briefly reduced. That area of the brain controls movement and sensation. Even a short lack of oxygen can cause these temporary symptoms. This is not a normal part of getting older. It is your brain telling you that it is struggling. The second warning sign involves your vision. This is not the gradual blurry vision that comes with age. It is a sudden change that appears without warning. It may affect one eye or part of your field of vision. You might suddenly lose vision in one eye for a brief moment. Everything may become dim as though someone lowered the lights. Some people describe it as a curtain slowly covering part of their sight before disappearing. The episode may last only a few seconds or a few minutes. Then everything returns to normal. You think it was strange but continue with your day. In reality, it could be a temporary interruption of blood flow affecting the vision centers of your brain. Another warning sign is trouble speaking or understanding speech. Everyone forgets a word once in a while. That is completely normal. What we are talking about here is something much more sudden and unusual. Imagine you are talking to your daughter on the phone. You know exactly what you want to say, but the words simply will not come out. Or someone asks you a simple question and suddenly the words make no sense at all. The confusion may last only a minute or two before disappearing. You apologize and blame being tired. But your brain is not simply tired. It may be struggling because it is not getting enough oxygen. Dizziness and loss of balance are also warning signs that many people overlook. As we age, balance problems can happen for many reasons. But a sudden change is something you should never ignore. You might be standing at the kitchen counter preparing lunch when suddenly you feel the room spinning. You have to grab the counter to keep yourself steady. After sitting down for a few minutes, the feeling disappears. That temporary dizziness may mean the part of your brain responsible for balance did not receive enough blood. It is not always caused by dehydration or an inner ear problem. Sometimes it is an important warning sign. Another symptom that surprises many people is a sudden severe headache. This is not the ordinary headache you get after a stressful day. It feels different from anything you have experienced before. It appears quickly and feels unusually intense. Sometimes the headache comes with neck stiffness or sensitivity to light. Many people assume it is just a migraine, especially if it eventually goes away. But if you rarely get migraines, this type of headache should never be ignored. It could be a sign that something is happening with the blood vessels in your brain. Seeking medical attention immediately is always the safest choice. Waiting to see if it happens again can be extremely dangerous. Another subtle warning sign is sudden confusion or memory problems. Imagine getting ready to drive to a grocery store you have visited for years but suddenly forgetting how to get there, or walking into a room and not remembering where you are. This is different from ordinary forgetfulness. It feels deeper and more disorienting. Some people suddenly struggle with simple daily tasks they have performed for decades. That change should never be dismissed. You might sit down to pay your bills and suddenly forget how to fill out a check. You might stand at your front door and become confused about which key unlocks it. These episodes usually disappear quickly, but they are not normal. Many people blame stress or lack of sleep. They assume everything is fine because the symptoms pass, but sudden confusion that feels completely out of character is your brain asking for help. What connects all of these warning signs is that they are temporary. They often disappear before you have time to fully understand what happened. That is exactly what makes them so dangerous. When symptoms go away, people naturally believe the crisis has passed, but that is often not true. You may actually be in the warning phase before a major stroke. What happens over the next few days or weeks depends on how seriously you take these signs. So what should you do if you notice one of these symptoms? How can you tell whether it is truly a warning sign or just a normal part of life? That is exactly what we are going to talk about next, because recognizing the signs is only half the battle. Knowing how to respond is just as important. Okay, so you have noticed something. Maybe your hand became weak for a few seconds. Maybe your vision suddenly became blurry. Maybe you felt dizzy or confused. What should you do next? This is the most important moment. If you experience any of these warning signs, you need to tell your doctor. Do not wait until your next regular appointment. Try to be seen within the next few days if possible. If several symptoms happen together, or if they are more severe, call your doctor immediately or go to an urgent care center. Acting quickly gives you the best chance to prevent something much more serious. Never assume the problem is gone just because the symptoms disappeared. Many people hesitate because they do not want to bother their doctor. They think the symptoms have already passed, so there is no reason to mention them. But doctors would much rather evaluate a false alarm than miss the warning signs of a stroke. While you are arranging to see your doctor, there are important things you can start doing right away. These simple actions can help lower your stroke risk over the next few weeks. They work best when combined with proper medical care. The first thing to focus on is your blood pressure. High blood pressure is the biggest risk factor for stroke. It puts extra force on the blood vessels throughout your body, including the tiny vessels inside your brain. Over time, that extra pressure damages the walls of those blood vessels. Damaged vessels are more likely to become blocked or rupture. Both situations can lead to a stroke. The difficult part is that high blood pressure usually causes no symptoms. You can feel completely healthy while your blood pressure remains dangerously high. That is why it is often called the silent killer. If you know your blood pressure is high, or even suspect it might be, now is the time to take it seriously. Follow the treatment plan your doctor recommends. At the same time, begin making healthy lifestyle changes that help lower your numbers naturally. One of the easiest places to start is reducing salt. Salt causes your body to hold on to extra water. More water in your bloodstream means higher pressure inside your blood vessels. Many processed foods contain much more salt than people realize. Deli meats, canned soups, frozen meals, and restaurant food are some of the biggest sources. Reading food labels and preparing more meals at home can make a noticeable difference. Instead of relying on salt, add flavor with garlic, lemon, herbs, and spices. Small changes repeated every day can have a meaningful effect on your blood pressure over time. Next, let's talk about movement. You do not need intense workouts or long hours in the gym. The goal is simply to keep your body moving on a regular basis. A steady 30-minute walk each day can improve blood circulation, lower blood pressure, help maintain a healthy weight, and reduce your overall stroke risk. Consistency is much more important than intensity. You can walk around your neighborhood, in a park, at a shopping mall, or anywhere that feels safe and comfortable. If walking is difficult because of arthritis or joint pain, speak with your doctor about other options. Swimming, water exercise, gentle stretching, or tai chi may be better choices for some people. The important thing is finding a form of movement that fits your body and doing it regularly. Another important factor is sleep. Good quality sleep allows your body to recover and repair itself. It also helps regulate blood pressure and supports a healthy cardiovascular system. If you are only sleeping a few hours each night or waking frequently, your body cannot recover properly. Poor sleep increases the risk of stroke and many other health problems. Try to go to bed at the same time every night. Keep your bedroom cool, quiet, and dark. Avoid using your phone before bedtime and talk with your doctor if you think you may have sleep apnea. What you eat also plays a major role in protecting your brain and heart. High blood sugar damages blood vessels over time. It makes them narrower, stiffer, and more likely to develop dangerous clots. You do not need an extreme diet. Simply begin limiting foods that quickly raise blood sugar, such as white bread, sugary drinks, desserts, processed snacks, and refined pasta. Instead, choose foods that are naturally rich in fiber. Vegetables, leafy greens, whole grains, beans, nuts, and berries help keep blood sugar more stable while supporting overall heart health. Stress management is another area people often overlook. Long-lasting stress keeps your body in a constant state of tension. Blood pressure stays higher and blood vessels remain under extra strain. Find healthy ways to relax every day. Deep breathing, meditation, gardening, reading, listening to music, or spending time with loved ones can all help reduce stress and support better health. If you smoke, now is the time to stop. Smoking damages blood vessels, raises blood pressure, and increases the chance of blood clots. Quitting is not easy, but many effective treatments and support programs are available through your doctor. There is one more condition that deserves special attention. It is called atrial fibrillation, or a fib. This happens when the heart beats in an irregular rhythm. When the heartbeat becomes irregular, blood can collect inside the heart and form clots. Those clots can travel to the brain and cause a stroke. Some people feel no symptoms at all, while others notice fluttering, racing, or skipped heartbeats. If you notice anything unusual about your heartbeat, especially if it is new or becoming more frequent, tell your doctor. A fib can often be treated successfully once it is diagnosed. To review the most important steps: monitor your blood pressure, stay physically active, sleep well, control your blood sugar, eat more fiber and less salt, reduce stress, stop smoking, pay attention to changes in your heartbeat. These habits do more than reduce stroke risk. They improve your overall health, help you stay active, and increase the chances of living a longer, healthier life. But remember one important thing: lifestyle changes take time to produce their full benefits. If you have already noticed warning signs, do not rely on healthy habits alone. See your doctor as soon as possible. Explain every symptom, even if it lasted only a few minutes and completely disappeared. Ask about checking your blood pressure, your blood sugar, and your heart rhythm if needed. The strongest protection comes from combining medical care with healthy lifestyle changes. Together they give you the best chance of preventing a major stroke before it happens. Let me bring this home for you, because everything we have talked about comes down to one simple truth. Your body is trying to help you. It is sending signals. The only question is whether you are going to listen. I think about all the people I have known who have had strokes. The people who recovered the best and kept their independence, their clarity, and their ability to enjoy life were the ones who recognized the warning signs. They listened to their bodies. They saw their doctors. They made changes before it was too late. Then there are the people who ignored those signs. They felt something unusual for a few days and believed it would simply go away. They moved on with their normal lives. Sadly, those situations often ended much more painfully. Sometimes the difference between those two paths comes down to only a few days. Sometimes it comes down to recognizing one symptom and taking it seriously. That small decision can completely change the future. So here is what I want you to do starting today. Begin by writing down the warning signs we talked about. Keep them somewhere you will see them every day. Put them on your bathroom mirror, your refrigerator, or in your phone. Do not do this to frighten yourself. Do it so that if you ever notice weakness, numbness, vision changes, trouble speaking, dizziness, a sudden severe headache, or confusion, you will recognize it for what it is. It is a warning. It is your body asking for attention. If you have high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, or a family history of stroke, make an appointment with your doctor this week. Do not wait. Do not assume you are healthy simply because you feel healthy. Get checked. Know your numbers. Understand your personal risk. Next, choose one healthy change you can begin this week. It does not have to be everything all at once. Maybe you decide to walk for 20 minutes every day. Maybe you reduce the amount of salt in your meals. Maybe you focus on getting better sleep each night. Choose one habit that you know you can stick with. Repeat it every day for the next 30 days. Small actions done consistently become powerful over time. They often matter much more than big changes that never last. If you experience any of the warning signs we discussed, do not ignore them. Call your doctor or visit an urgent care center. If several symptoms appear together or they become severe, call emergency services immediately. Every minute matters during a stroke. Do not worry about overreacting. Do not worry about bothering anyone. Your health is far more important than feeling embarrassed. Doctors would always rather evaluate a warning than treat a preventable emergency later. If you notice these signs in someone you love, speak up. Whether it is your spouse, your parent, your sibling, or your closest friend, encourage them to seek medical attention. Many people underestimate their symptoms or feel too embarrassed to ask for help. If you notice sudden weakness, slurred speech, facial drooping, trouble walking, or a sudden severe headache, encourage that person to get medical care immediately. If the symptoms seem serious, call emergency services without delay. Acting quickly can save a life. You may be thinking that this is a lot of information and wondering if you should be worried. I want you to remember something important. Awareness is not the same as fear. Learning about your health gives you knowledge, not panic. You are watching this because you want to understand your body and take better care of yourself. That is a smart decision. The people who stay healthy as they grow older are usually the ones who pay attention to their bodies and take action when something changes. You are already taking that first step simply by learning this information. That puts you ahead of many people who never recognize the warning signs until it is too late. Knowledge gives you the chance to make better decisions. The truth is that many strokes can be prevented. Not every stroke can be avoided because some risk factors cannot be changed, but many are linked to conditions such as high blood pressure, diabetes, irregular heartbeat, and high cholesterol. These are problems that can often be treated or managed. The warning signs we discussed are your body's way of giving you another chance. They give you time to seek medical help before something much more serious happens. That opportunity is incredibly valuable. The 30-day window we talked about is not meant to scare you. It is meant to remind you that you still have time to act. It is your opportunity to protect your future and your health. One lesson stands out after years of talking with people about health. The biggest difference between good outcomes and poor outcomes is often action. Not perfect action, just taking the first step and following through. You do not have to change your entire life today. You only need to begin with one healthy choice, then repeat that choice tomorrow and the day after that. Progress comes from consistency. This week I want you to commit to 3 things. First, share this information with someone you care about. The person who needs these warning signs the most may not be you. It may be someone close to you. Second, choose one healthy habit and stick with it, whether it is walking, reducing salt, improving your sleep, or checking your blood pressure. Make that commitment today. Stay consistent over the coming weeks. Third, if you ever experience any of the warning signs, promise yourself that you will take them seriously. You will not ignore them. You will not wait to see if they disappear. You will get medical attention. Your body is remarkable. It has carried you through every stage of your life. Right now it may be working perfectly well, but if something changes, listen carefully to what it is telling you. That strange feeling of weakness, that unexpected tingling, or that unusual moment of confusion is not something to dismiss. It may be your body asking for help before a crisis develops. Paying attention could save your life. You have more control over your health than you may realize. The next 30 days could become one of the most important periods of your life, not because something terrible must happen, but because you have the chance to take control. Take care of yourself. Take this information seriously without living in fear. Move through each day with greater awareness. Make one positive change and continue building on it. Your body has been communicating with you your entire life. Now you know how to recognize those messages. That knowledge can make all the difference. If you have more parts of the script, send them over and I'll keep the exact same format.